The oldest nation is where Adam at first lived, as it is where he was created, the Garden of Eden, as it is the Tyre, as what the Bible had described. Then when Adam ate the forbidden fruit he was driven from it. It was not mentioned as it where he was driven by God, but as surely as it is just nearby, for they are just the first who was created, so why will God let them to travel afar? So it's so believable that Adam and Eve lives in Jerusalem, and as was been disclosed by the Jews and Christians, Adam was buried in Hebron in Jerusalem. So as almost all memorable events happened here. Some said, Adam and Eve were buried in Garden of Eden, which is contrary to what was written. As was stated, Adam and Eve were banished from Garden of Eden, which means can never come back to it anymore. And some said Adam and Eve lives in Nod after being driven from the Garden of Eden, which is contrary to what was written, as it is that what Cain was driven away by God. So basing from the Bible, the oldest nation is Tyre, Babylon, as it is here where Adam and Eve were created and lived, and the next is Jerusalem, as where was Adam and Eve was brought by God after being driven from Garden of Eden. The account of peoples before Noah was not stated of where they live. For sure they also separated from each other to other places. So then the third is the Ararat, Turkey, as it is where Noah settled after the flood, and then his sons and our descendants goes to different places as was mentioned in the Bible. As Abraham father and relatives settled to or Babylon or Iraq, then from it Abraham goes to Canaan, the land that was given to him by God, a wife for his descendants Isaac and to Jacob, as a promise of God to Abraham offspring, being referred to Jacob mainly to Jesus. Now as about Palestine, the Palestinians are grandson of Egypt. They are sea people. God took the Palestinians from Kepfor, Turkey, for being in squatter there. God brought them to the land of Canaan, the land that was given by God to Abraham, before the Palestinians were brought there. This was also written in Quran, as a promised land to his offspring, to Jacob, mainly to Jesus. And God blessed Palestine, making them prosperous, that in time of Abraham and in time of Isaac poverty, that they stayed, for the king of Philistines loves them as for being grateful to God. Then when the sons of Jacob sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites as until Joseph was brought to Egypt, then in times of poverty the Jacob, Israel, family was destined to Egypt because of Joseph the dreamer. But when the former Pharaoh died, the Israelites were mistreated there. Then God delivered them back to their own land, the Canaan. When they came back, the nations there multiplied, which were unbelievers including the Palestine. So God commanded Israel to exterminate all of them. But the Israel failed God. They did not kill all the Palestinians. So Palestine indeed must be thankful to Israelites. So God said it will be your problem. So as you can see, the Canaan map is occupied by all the 12 tribes of Israel, as the Palestinians remain there. But when the Israel always commits wickedness, so God said, I will make your land small, which means, God will not help them if being battled. So as was fulfilled, such lands of Canaan, Israel, were being conquered, as the Jerusalem was been given by the Islamic nations to Palestinians, as they were been even driven away from their own land. But when the British, European, the descendants of Esau the twin brother of Israel with the help of USA helped the Israel, they regained their land, until the Israel was proclaimed to be nation, through the initiative of USA and British, Europe, to be voted in General Assembly. Indeed the Israel was a nation even before, but the British, Europe, USA, made it into that way, so that the Israel will not be conquered anymore. Even if you read the Quran, you couldn't see Palestine there. But as if it is God prophecy, then it will never fail. That is why the Israel was always being battled. But in the last day, new earth, God will restore the whole Canaan to Israel, and even the neighboring countries will be vanished and will be added to the new Jerusalem, Israel. Esau was betrayed by Jacob. Esau God meant to Israel, but when Jesus came, Esau's descendants loved so much Israel. British or the European saved the Israel from the Arab nations from being conquered, as until now the European, Christians, loves Israel, as it is God's very own nation or firstborn church, and makes also the Romans mainly the European as holy nation, 1 Peter 2:9. All my teachings has a reliable basis and reliable explanations and could be asked, as Allah said ask. This is the map of Israel. The Jerusalem was shaded with pink and same color with the Palestine because the UN General Assembly agreed that it must not be given to Israel since it is under contested land between Israel and Arab countries. Islamic, or was an agreement being sought in UN General Assembly, but when the Israel became powerful country that regained back their original land. That Jerusalem and or West Bank was just being invaded or conquered by the Arab countries, Islamic, from Israel and given it to Palestine. The Bible and Quran proves it, as there's a king of Jerusalem, but you can't see king of Palestine or Palestine in Quran. Ask yourselves why the Palestine was just declared to be sovereign state on March 20, 25, as the Palestinian Liberation Organization itself declared the Palestine a state by the year November 1988 November.